It costs that much cause it takes me fucking hours. It costs that much cause I don't have superpowers. So you need to pay for my skills cause exposure doesn't pay the bills. It costs that much cause it takes me fucking hours. You need to pay for my skills cause exposure doesn't pay the bills. It costs that much cause it takes me fucking hours.
Arizona is one of the craziest places for UFOs on the planet, and tonight we're going to time travel back to 1997. We're talking about the Phoenix Lights tonight on Mundus Ultra.
Well, if there's a thing.
Hello, everybody. Damn, I'm huge. That's not what she said. To me anyway. Unless she was looking at my belly. Good evening. Welcome to whatever the hell this show is called, Mundus Ultra. I had to have a little sippity doo-dah before the show because I was having issues today. It was a little bit of a day. Based intro, thanks, man. I'm assuming that's good. I'm not down with the jaunty lingo, so I'm gonna try my best. But you know, I love this kind of stuff. We had a great show last week, I believe, last Sunday night, right before the Super Bowl or during the Super Bowl. Talking about the UFO being shot down over Alaska. We're going to another A state. This time it's Arizona. And we're going back to 1997 for this peach, almost 26 years ago. March 13th, 1997 to be exact. Witnesses in the Phoenix, Arizona area had spotted not one, but two UFOs in the sky over the city itself. One of the more famous pictures there you can see in the thumbnail is the curved lights making kind of an arch right over the city of Phoenix. And also, I would just, before I get into this, for some reason the internet has been wackadoodles, crazy go nuts. We had some issues last night with Secret Show, so I apologize for that. Hopefully we won't have that tonight, but if you get a little buffering, just rub it out, you know, just spit on it, just rub it out, it'll be fine. I want to say hi to everybody that showed up. We got Miguel and Rick's here. Pacheco Roan is here too. And Boost Bones in the house, aka Les Bones. Good to see all of y'all. I know a lot of stuff going on today with the Rage Against the War Machine, so hopefully you've been able to watch some of the coverage of that. Seemed like a pretty good turnout for that. A few thousand people showed up, a lot of good speakers for that, and it was for a good cause. It's to shout out against these wars for profit. Yeah, Miguel, the internet, at least my internet went totally tits up. And so we don't mean to leave you with a cliffhanger, but we were pretty much done anyway. But still, we wanted to go out on our own terms. You didn't get to see the Cash Money B with his sleeping on the couch, or the cats whooping ass, or Bruce Campbell. I always like to have that at the end. Yeah, Jimmy went 6 hours on KRTD today. TD today. I'm a little bit lit, so this is gonna be a fun one. And we're only gonna go an hour because we got Due Dissonance coming up at 7 p.m. So if you're not subscribed to them, please do so. Great political analysis with Keaton and Russell, although Keaton is flying solo. I think he has I can't remember who. Punch Up Pod is going to be on the show tonight with them tonight. Russell is still on assignment in India, and on assignment, I mean, he's probably just having the time of his life over there. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to get to the meat of what we're talking about tonight. Is the Phoenix Lights. This is one of my favorite stories of UFOs. There are plenty of UFO legends and lore out there, some a little more credible than others. And as I should probably say, like as I do always at the top of the show, I'm not an expert on any of this stuff, right? I'm just a super fan, and I know a lot of you guys are intrigued by this kind of stuff. And I know if you get proof that some of this thing's been debunked, that's great too. It kind of sucks, because you kind of want it to be true, but if the evidence is pretty solid, you kind of got to go with that. But there are plenty of UFO stories out there that are just unexplained. Hello, Kate. She says, just got home, gonna listen to the meat. Kate, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's code, or or you're going to put a stake out there and just put your ear to it. I'm not quite sure how that works, but to each their own. I don't kink shame, as the kids say. I'm gonna listen to my meat. Listen to the meat. Anyway, I'm sure you meant something else, but that's fine. You listen to as much meat as you want, lady. This is we're in a shit world. You never know when it's gonna go tits up. But I digress. Let's get into the fun stuff here. We're talking about the Phoenix Lights. And what were the Phoenix Lights? You said you said you were going to get to the meat. I say. You're just gonna listen. Okay. I get it now. So all right, full disclosure, I brought a friend, my course banquet. I want to get and there's never enough. I had a fun day. I had to do some stuff in the city today, but I did a lot of walking, and I needed an adult beverage to heal the feet. So let's get right into it. Here's Phoenix Lights. So what were the Phoenix Lights, right? So there were multiple sightings that night. In not just Arizona, there was also sightings in Nevada and in Mexico too. We're going to get to some of the extraneous stuff that was going on at the time too, and we're going to talk about some of the witness accounts. We have some video for that. So of all the places to catch a glimpse of a UFO, Arizona is one the most likely, at least according to local lore. Over the years, it's regularly ranked in the top 10 states for UFO sightings per capita. Although such stats should be eyed with some skepticism. One exceptionally busy night, March 13th, 1997, law enforcement agencies across the state fielded hundreds of calls from witnesses who reported seeing strange lights in the Arizona sky. What would over time come to be known as the Phoenix Lights were first reported near Henderson, Nevada, starting around 8:15 local time. Observers there and in northern Arizona reported a large group of amber-colored lights moving together in a V-shaped formation. Okay. Later that evening, around 10 p.m., Scores of witnesses in the Phoenix area reported seeing a group of lights hovering silently overhead in a wide arc, moving slowly and occasionally disappearing and reappearing. That's the famous shot that you see of the arced lights over the city. The mysterious Phoenix lights seemed to defy explanation. Even self-proclaimed skeptics reported the phenomenon was so extraordinary that they became ardent believers that what they had seen was not of earthly origin. Oh, really? So those went right over my city, Prescott, Arizona. There was reports. Okay, all right, Kate. All right. I said the meat. We're getting to the meat. I was on the fat. Now we're at the meat. So, but there was so you have the lights, right, that were over the city of Phoenix. There were also reports that night of V-shaped lights too. That, see, the ones that we saw over Phoenix was more of like a curve lights, all uniform too. At the time, and still to this day, officials in the military were saying, oh, well, they were just flares. The V-shaped craft were planes, and they were saying Cessnas in formation. There's a great website here that I came across. Is totally devoted to the Phoenix lights. And I want to get to that. Where is it? There it is. Let me go ahead and move that over here. So this is the phoenixlights.net /must_c.htm. And there's plenty of videos on here. There's like a documentary about what happened back in 1997. And this is a great site where there's John Podesta at the Clinton White House chief of staff was talking about UFO disclosure. Clinton himself talking about it. Lots of great videos on here. So if you really want to go down the rabbit hole and talk about these things, there was a lot of crazy stuff going on. In a future episode, we're going to talk about the Mothman too in West Virginia, and there's a lot more to that story too. So there's always a lot more to these stories to be had. Oh, Miss Jimmy is here. Miss Jimmy, good to see you, doll. Did a great job today on KRTD, anchoring the coverage of the Rage Against the War Machine. So congratulations to you, doll. Make sure that you check out KRTD before it's too late, before they move off into the ether, off of this mortal coil. Oh, Mothman's your favorite. Okay, well, I'll make sure that I make it extra spicy for you, and make sure that we get a lot of the details. There's all kinds of good stuff about that. That's probably going to be the next episode, actually. We're probably going to have to do that. Today was stressful. Oh, you poor thing. Well, you're a champ, though. I know you did well. So let's get back to the Phoenix Lights here. So this is from Plane and Pilot magazine. So this is what they were talking about. Actually, this is what I had up before. So this is the thing, like the governor at the time, I believe his name is Fife something. I had his name here just a second ago. Literally, I put this show together like 20 minutes before airtime. So, and I did it a little bit tipsy too. So I'm amazed this thing got on the air. But they were saying that there was like formations of planes, and then there was flares. It was just, it was just, but they couldn't prove that either, right? Because, okay, I don't know if you've seen a flare before. Hang on just a second here. So what a flare does, so a flare is going to bring a ball of light, right? But at the top, you're going to see it's going to see the smoke, the trail of the flare. So it kind of looks like a giant sperm in the air, right? And flares they fall. They don't hover, and they damn sure don't stay in formation. So there's a lot of controversy around that. And of course, I'm sure the military didn't want everybody to freak out and talk about, a possible alien invasion. Could it have been some sort of experimental craft? Maybe. That's a possibility too. I mean, that's the thing. We have to look at all angles when it comes to this kind of stuff, right? So me being I wish aliens would come down and hook us up with some like cool like technology and just hang out and chill with us. Thinks that it could have been extraterrestrial, but it could have very well been military craft. But that being said, we'll get more into this here. So one of the first person, ironically, to report these lights was a pilot who was, I believe he was flying with his son at the time, and he noticed the lights in the sky, and I believe he reported them to air traffic control at the local airport in Phoenix. And that is a fun story. So and it was Snake Plissken. It was this guy. If I could pull it up there. Yeah, so this is from IndieWire. So he did an interview on the BBC talking about this, and I thought this was just fantastic. So let me see if I can
may be able to help me, and this may feature, who knows? Because this is an international story. Because of you both being here, I looked into the international...
Let me start this over.
Who knows? Because this is an international story. Because of you both being here, I looked into the international files. Not covered by our Ministry of Defense, but maybe covered by yours. This took place in Arizona. An unidentified pilot, according to the press cuttings, flying near an airport in Arizona with his son when he spotted 6 lights in the night sky. So he called from the aeroplane to air traffic control to say, I'm seeing these lights here. I wasn't expecting any other planes. They're none supposed to be on my landing path. Can you tell me what's going on? They said there are no other planes. He said, I'm seeing 6 bright lights coming towards me. Mystery unresolved.
Except, tail number for that plane was Bonanza 2 Tango Sierra, and I was the pilot. No way.
Dun, dun,
Oliver
dun.
and I, dun, dun, dun.
So just take us back. Doesn't say that in the briefing.
Oliver and I,
I should have read to the end.
Oliver and I were flying in. I was flying him to go see his girlfriend, and we were on approach, and I saw 6 lights over the airport in absolute uniform in a V shape, and Oliver said to me, I was just looking at him, and I was coming in. We're maybe a half a mile out, and Oliver said, "Pa, what are those lights?" And I then it kind of like came out of my reverie, and I said, "I don't know what they are." I said, he said, "Are we okay here?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna call him," and I reported it. And they said, "We're not painting anything. We don't show anything." I said, "Well, okay, I'm gonna declare it's unidentified, it's flying, and it's 6 objects." We landed. I taxied, dropped him off, took off, went back to L.A. Never said a word. He never said a word. I never thought of it. 2 years later, Goldie is watching a television show when I came home.
Yeah.
And the show is on UFOs. But as I came home, "Hey, honey, how's it going?" And I'm kind of hearing the TV going, and I stopped, and I started watching, and it was on that event. Now, that was the most viewed UFO event. Over 20,000 people saw that. And I'm watching this, and I'm feeling like Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's like, why do I know this? You know what? And it's not clear to me. And finally, I said, then they said the pilot reported it. A general aviation pilot reported it on landing. I'd never thought of it since then, and I said, that was me. That was me. And I said, wait a minute, I'll go to my logbooks. So I went to my logbooks, and there was the flight at that time, and I didn't mention anything about the UFO. The fascinating part of that to me is that it just went literally out of my head.
Yeah.
And Oliver never mentioned it. And had I not seen that show, I'd have never thought of it again.
Amazing.
Now, that to me was the weird part.
Believer now, Chris? Yes.
Yes.
I'm convinced.
So there you go. Very wild coincidence that Kurt Russell, of all people, would not only see this UFO, but would actually report it. And yeah, it's. But like he said, it was 20,000 people that night saw the lights. And it wasn't just, regular ordinary Joes out there. There's a lot of ex-military pilots who saw these lights, and they said, no, these were not flares. This is just, and they were talking about how they said, well, it was probably some sort of formation of aircraft like Cessnas flying over. For first, I don't know much about airplanes, but I'm pretty sure that Cessnas don't hover in place. I'm pretty sure of that. I mean, I could be wrong. And second, this formation was too perfect. You can't even if you had Cessnas doing this, you can't get Cessnas to stay perfectly in alignment like that. Everything moving at the same time. This is what they were talking about, the V-shape crafts that were flying over. In fact, we have where is this here? Let's see. One of the witnesses had actually captured some of the video to it. So let's take a look at this. This is from Tucson KGUN, KGUN. I believe this is from December of last year. So it's a fairly recent article about this. It says it's been more than 25 years since one of Arizona's strangest mysteries, the Phoenix Lights. Mike Kurtzton was one of thousands across the state who will never forget the night of March 13th, 1997. He says he did not see the first event that night. Many described as a boomerang or V-shaped object flying silently through the night sky sometime around 8 p.m. However, Kurtzton did capture the second phenomenon on camera from the backyard of his home atop Moon Mountain in North Phoenix. Floating orbs of light appearing one by one and spreading out in a curved formation, seemingly hovering over the city, then disappearing in a different order. He says, I went outside and I saw the light. It was as far east as it's ever been. I've never seen it this far to the east. And Kirsten says before he'd seen floating lights to the west of his home, he believed those were flares from the Barry Goldwater Air Force Range southwest of the city. But Kirsten believes the lights on March 13th, 1997 looked brighter and closer, hovering over the city itself. And as we said, officially the U.S. government said that night people saw military flares drop from 1,500 feet by Maryland National Guard, who reportedly took off from Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson before conducting a training exercise over Phoenix. It's kind of wild that these things happen while training exercises are going on. 9/11 is a good example of that was happening while there was a training exercise regarding the they were training at that time. They were training for terrorist planes flying into buildings. So that can't really be a coincidence. But like I said, the military is going to say this because for one of two reasons. They're going to say this because it is experimental, enhanced military technology. It could be reverse engineered UFO technology or some sort of advanced Nikola Tesla technology that could have been in his missing papers that disappeared after he died. So I mean, you can kind of speculate as to what was going on, but this was one of the witnesses talking about that. So let me get back to me. There I am. Hi everybody. I think we're still on the air. Are we still on the air? Yeah, we're still on the air. Okay, good. Nobody in the chat saying anything. You're so enthralled by the subject. But yeah, so let's get to some of the witnesses. Now, like I said, they saw these lights over Phoenix proper, but there was also reports of V-shaped lights that were just huge. Like this ship was just like the reports of it being 1 mile to 2 miles wide. What's up, Anthony? Anthony, one of our producers here. Good to see you, brother. Hope you are doing well this evening. But I want to take a look. Now, this is from the same website that we were talking about earlier. The Phoenix Lights .net, which is devoted to the Phoenix Lights and to other UFO sightings as well. But let's take a look at what the witnesses had to say about this. So let's do this, and let's do this.
Major sighting here
on the 13th of March. Weird happenings in the skies over Phoenix recently. And no one seems to be able to explain what it was. And now,
suddenly 6 amber orbs in a row, totally equidistant from each other, massive span across, pop up.
On March 13th, 1997, thousands of witnesses across the state of Arizona reported seeing a large V-shaped craft over 1 mile wide with unusual lights travel slowly and silently by at a very low altitude.
We all looked up at the same time and saw this amazing, huge, dark, silent object that appeared to just be right over our heads.
It was awesome. I mean, we were telling ourselves not to blink.
It was very close to the ground. It was just like floating over the housetops.
Witness accounts suggest that at least one unknown craft, and possibly others, passed directly over Phoenix and penetrated through Sky Harbor airspace before drifting off to the south towards Tucson. Skeptics and debunkers dismiss the event as flares or a host of other natural explanations, while countless witnesses insist that what they saw was an enormous semi-transparent craft, much larger than any aircraft.
We could not see the whole object from front to back, from side to side. It was so big.
I would gauge this object to be several football fields. I mean, like 1 mile, maybe more than 1 mile, maybe even 2 miles. It was huge.
The lights did not move relative to each other. Had they been in a formation of separate aircraft, there would have been a slight relative movement, I would have perceived, and they stayed pretty much just locked in position. So I'm pretty sure it was a single aircraft, wider than any other aircraft flying today.
The Phoenix Lights event is still considered by many experts to be one of the most significant sightings in the history of ufology.
So there you go. That's what was intriguing to me about this story, was the witness accounts talking about the V-shaped lights. There are videos out there that go more into detail as to what these witnesses were seeing. So you had these two separate incidents, right? The V-shaped craft, and then you had the round round arc lights that were over the city proper. So these folks, people would say, these witnesses were like these folks here who were in the backyard, just chilling, and then it was a nice evening. The weather was fine. The weather was clear, and they would look up and they would see these lights just in a V shape, huge, very close to the ground, like maybe 1,000 or maybe a couple thousand feet above their heads, maybe less than that. The witnesses claim that this thing just silently flew over, no sound whatsoever. So if it had been planes that were in a formation, you would have heard the planes, right? There, as far as we know, there are no airships or aircraft that can fly without making some sort of noise. Of course, jets make noise, helicopters make noise, even Cessnas make noise. You get that nice little, little toy plane sound, but it's still going to make some noise. And to the letter, all of these witnesses who claimed to seen the V-shaped craft said that it was totally silent. There was one. This is a particularly interesting part of the story as we go back to phoenixlights.net, where they basically debunked that it was military craft, right? And this is, like I said, this is from the same website, and they were talking about that it might actually be a blimp of some sort. So let's take a listen to this from the phoenixlights.net.
Another common theory is that experimental government aircraft are responsible for the Phoenix Lights. Supporters of this theory believe that a very large silent surveillance blimp, or top-secret aircraft, flew over Arizona and that diversionary flares were dropped by the military in an attempt to divert the attention of whoever was out on that clear evening gazing at Hale-Bopp Comet. When considering this implausible theory, one must also consider many obvious questions. If this was indeed a top-secret military blimp, why would they fly it at a dangerously low altitude, right over a major city in full public view, endangering millions of citizens on the ground and in the air, rather than fly a course somewhere over the thousands of square miles of uninhabited desert surrounding Phoenix? If they flew it over the desert, they wouldn't have to bother with diversionary flares or worry about the risk of crashing into a populated area.
I don't think it was the military doing this. It doesn't pass the common sense test. Why would you create a huge, slow-flying craft that's radar stealthy and then go out and fly it over a population center with all the lights on to validate that it can be seen by the naked eye?
Now he makes a good point there. If it is experimental craft, and they want to test it out, there's plenty of places out in the middle of nowhere in Arizona and Nevada, in the Southwest there, New Mexico, that they could fly these craft with very little people witnessing these things. So it doesn't make sense that if it were an experimental craft that they would just put it out there, unless there was some sort of hidden agenda to make you believe that there were extraterrestrials. You know, everybody talks about Project Bluebeam, where it's the theory that they're going to use holograms to make it seem like there is a UFO invasion, and that this is part of the New World Order in order to get a one world government, to get the countries of the world to unite against this common foe, that sort of thing. But let's let him continue.
Doesn't make any sense.
Another point here is that a mile-wide blimp would literally collapse under its own weight. Even if the military could build such an enormous blimp, why would they? Sure would make an easy target in enemy territory. And imagine how.
And as we've seen recently, the military will shoot down anything that's floating in the sky. So if this was an actual blimp, first off, it would be the biggest blimp in history. There's just, who knows how they could have created a 1 to 2 mile wide blimp. I don't know if you know what the extent of what a mile or two looks like, besides what you would be driving on the ground or running, that sort of thing. You may have a general idea of what that kind of size means. But to see that in the sky would just be ridiculous. I mean, even the largest airships ever created, you saw on the graph there, or on the picture there, is the Boeing. It was like the 747. The width of it was almost the width of a football field, and this thing just dwarfs that. It dwarfs several football fields. It's incredible.
How much gas it would take to fill one up. And why would they continue to deny its existence? There's nothing top secret about blimps or their use, certainly not compared to stealth technology and other defense projects that are already in the public domain. The bottom line to all this is, if it was an aircraft that flew over Phoenix in 1997, top secret or not, the public would have known about it a long time ago. Every major airport in the country that has scheduled airline service is surrounded by Class B airspace, a protective zone that extends 30 miles out from the center of the airport. No aircraft, including military aircraft, can enter Class B airspace without communication and clearance from the air traffic controller. Upon entering, pilots are issued transponder codes and are safely vectored to and from the many airports that are within their busy airspace. Pilots are closely monitored by ATC at all times to avoid mid-air collisions. Whatever flew over Phoenix on March 13th severely violated Class B airspace when it entered without communication and ATC clearance.
See, that's another thing too, is the airspace. Now, like I said, if you're gonna test a military craft, right, an experimental military craft, one thing, are you really going to show the public these planes by having this craft or these crafts up here? It really just doesn't make sense if you think about it like that. But if you think about it as just some off-world vehicle that is not human-made, who doesn't know the laws of our airspace and how that works, you might be onto something.
Violated minimum safe altitude requirements and flew right across the final approach course of Sky Harbor Airport, one of the busiest airports in the country. It also went undetected by radar, which completely kills the blimp idea and all other conventional aircraft for that matter. Skeptics still continue to throw out ridiculous theories, everything from swamp gas to weather balloons, but none of these theories stand up to scientific scrutiny.
Exactly. No scrutiny for you. Let's see here. So it's just it kind of reminds me of the UFO that was in Jerusalem that was hovering over the Temple Mount. It came straight down, just a ball of light, right above the Temple Mount, and all of a sudden you see a flash of light, and this thing straight up into the sky. At some point we'll talk about that too. Probably bundle that story into more of a UFOs of the Middle East, because there's crazy UFO stories from the Middle East too. So crazy UFO stories all over the place. So if UFOs is your bag, you've come to the right place. So right now, I just want to take just a quick moment to remind folks that, we really appreciate you watching this show. We're brand new. We're going to make mistakes on here. We're going to probably mess up a bunch of stuff, but we're going to try and correct and learn from our mistakes. So hopefully we can get a like, share, and a subscribe from you. Oh no, our little hipster out in the middle of the desert. What's going on here? Oh no. So please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to become a Patreon to the show, we have 2 tiers. $1 a month. Thank you, Cal. $1 a month for the Broke as a Joke crowd, and $5 a month for the money bags. So so the $1 a month, that's $12 a year. That's the price of a dozen eggs in some places, although the price may have gone down. I hope so. Eggs do not need to be that expensive. We don't need to get broke over some eggs. Okay, so what else was going on that evening, right? So there was stuff that was prior to the event that was going on as well, within the cosmos. Crazy spatial and atmospheric things going on. So like I said, so they're talking about this once again. This is from the phoenixlights.net. Let's take a listen to this, shall we?
Scientific American, July 1997, a few months after the Phoenix Lights, had a 10-page story about gamma radiation bursts that were seen by the Lucilla telescope in Chile and the Hubble telescope on March 13th, 1997. Never mentioned the Phoenix Lights, of course, but that these gamma radiation bursts were so rare and so unique, and here they were on March 13th, and the first imaging seemed like they were 450,000 light years away. 20 minutes later, the images seemed like they were in our solar system.
That inside that gamma ray burst was a bright point of light, and inside that bright point of light was a somewhat elongated background object. Man, when I read that, I mean, the hair on the back of my neck stood up.
Same night, some other unusual things happened. Communication satellite knocked out. Gallium arsenide chips instead of silica, so it should not have been knocked out by radiation or anything. Knocked out, destroyed.
The Misty 3 takes pictures of incoming objects. So if we got a gamma ray burst with a somewhat elongated background object and it's heading towards us, we have satellites out there that are taking its pictures and sending it to NORAD, or the U.S. Space Command. Then we had what happened in Arizona, and we're not talking Phoenix only, we're talking the entire state of Arizona. From as early as 5:30 p.m. all the way till as late as 2 o'clock in the morning. It was not one event or two events, but it was many events.
It's all a tapestry in a mystery to keep thinking about, try to figure it out.
So yeah, we're this is one of those things that like I said, this story is just fascinating to me, particularly in the fact that there were thousands of people who saw this event, and you had people, you had experts, like I said, you had military experts and aeronautic pilots who see things in the sky all the time. They know what these things look like, and they were just befuddled by what they saw in the skies that night. Not just, like I said, not just over Phoenix, but over Arizona, Nevada, and even into Mexico as well. So, I mean, I mean, is it I don't mean to be like George Sukalukas from from the History Channel. I'm not saying it with aliens, but it with aliens. This kind of stuff, like I said, are we ever going to know the truth about it? We're definitely not going to know the truth about it from the government, because the government is never going to tell us about this. In fact, the governor of Arizona at the time, I can't, let me see what his name was. Give me just a second here. The Phoenix Lights, Fife. I know his first name was Fife, like Barney Fife. Fife Symington. So Arizona Governor Fife Symington at the time, he's getting information from his military sources in the state, from the National Guard, saying we don't know what it is. So they held a press conference, and you can see this video online too, and it's very it's so depressing. where he says, we finally figured out what it is. And he brings in his chief of staff, who's wearing like this alien, this like this alien this gray alien head with the big eyes, and he pulls his head off. Oh, yuck, 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 yuck. And, you know, at the time, he basically had to say that, because what if he tells the truth? It says we don't know what it is. You're going to cause a panic, or at least that was the rationale. That was the rationale, saying he thought that it was going to cause a panic because they didn't know what it was. But in his heart of hearts, he had interviews later after the fact where he said, truthfully, we still didn't know what it was. Oh, did it? Yeah. Rockfin, I knew Rockfin was going to be a bit of a bugaboo tonight, so we're still working out the bugs in some of these new things, but hopefully we're still on YouTube. That's the main goal. But later, like I said, the governor admitted that they did this because they had no idea what these things were, what these lights were, and, you know, typical government. It's just the same thing that happened with these supposed UFOs over Alaska, which it turns out now that some of the reporting coming in says that they may have shot down a toy balloon that some balloon enthusiasts had totally, you know, they said, yeah, we had like a $10 balloon up there and the military shot it down. So I think it's just fascinating that the Phoenix Lights mystery still endures, even though the military themselves have said, well, it was just flares. It's, you know, it's the same thing as them saying, oh, it was swamp gas. That's what they've been saying about UFOs for years. That, oh, swamp gas. Even if there's no swamp around, how are you going to have swamp gas when you ain't got no swamp? So anyway, I think the UFO stories in general are just so fascinating. A lot, and the story goes that like 99% of UFO reports are explainable. Maybe not easily explainable, but they have relative explanations. It's just that 1% are not explained. And you say, well, that 1%, that's just so few. But we're talking tens of hundreds of thousands of UFO reports, not just here in the United States, but around the world. So, were they aliens? Was it the military? I mean, what do you guys think? You know, let me know in the chat. Do you think it was, you know, do you think it's easily explainable? Do you think it was flares? Do you think these V-shaped craft lights in the sky were planes in formation? I don't think so. But then again, I'm kind of a Fox Mulder. I want to believe what's going on, and hopefully we'll get some answers. Maybe we'll get some answers in the future. Maybe if they were extraterrestrials, they'll come back and they'll tell us that they it was like, yeah, it was us. Oops, my bad. Sorry, we were just me and the missus. We were out for a nice flight. You know, just hanging out, and we saw your planet, and it's like, that's cool. Let's go check it out. You think it's Rick thinks it's Project Bluebeam? It could be. I mean, our government has done a lot of things in the past to fool us. They've lied to us. I mean, the Gulf of Tonkin comes into mind to get us into the Vietnam War. There's speculation that Roosevelt knew about Pearl Harbor. being attacked and let it happen, so that because at the time the United States was an isolationist country and had their fill of war with World War I and did not want to get into World War II. So I don't put it past our government to try to do something like that, Rick. I think it could be. All things being equal, I would say that this is some sort of trickery by the military. What's up, Gamer? Gamer right at the very end. But better late than never, pal. Good to see you. We were just talking about the Phoenix Lights. So you could probably just roll back the video and you can watch it. We had some great video with witnesses and some of the experts were talking about it too. Oh, okay. I hope your mom's doing better, Gamer. I know you said that she wasn't doing too well. So let's put everybody put positive energy into Gamer's mom and wish her a speedy recovery very soon. So, but don't worry, you can always catch the replay. It's fine. But we're gonna wrap things up here. I want to thank everybody for coming out for this. Like I said, we're still kind of working out the kinks. We're trying to I don't know, just find these interesting stories that you like, that I like, and I think it's just, they'd be fun to talk about and to speculate on. And that's mostly what we're doing. There's a lot of speculation. Like I said, I'm no scientist. I'm not a physicist. I'm not a astronomer or anything like that. But I love the fact that maybe there is something in the world beyond that we just don't know about. We may not have the comprehension to think about. But that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming out this evening. Welcome back, Les Bones. Thanks, Gamer. It's all right. Everybody who showed up stuck around, so I appreciate that. I want to thank Gamer and Les Bones and Rick and Yona and Miss Jimmy and Pacheco Roan and Miguel and Kate for hanging out with us here this evening. Hopefully I got to the meat, Kate, like we said. But anyway, my buddy Keaton is on right now. Do Dissidents on YouTube. Be sure to check them out. I'm pretty sure he is in the show countdown right now. So you have a few minutes. Get you a nice snack or a beverage or a toke, whatever you want. And